In 2021, the creator of the YouTube channel Zatirni Mird published a video about returning to an abandoned 3-story apartment building. During his previous visit, he believed he had witnessed several unexplained events. This time, he planned to investigate the building once again, but instead of finding answers, he would unexpectedly come face to face with people already living inside.
Кто здесь? Кто здесь?
From the outside, the building appeared completely abandoned. Broken windows, empty apartments, years of decay. As he searched one apartment after another, he noticed fresh footprints leading toward the upper floors. Someone had been there recently. The only question was whether they were still inside.
Печально на самом деле на все это смотреть, потому что когда-то здесь кто-то жил. Так, свежие следы. Свежие следы. Значит, здесь кто-то недавно ходил.
After checking the apartment where his previous investigation had taken place, he decided to explore the second stairwell. Everything was quiet until he suddenly heard movement, then voices. At first, he thought they might be coming from outside, but after stopping to listen, it became clear the voices were echoing from somewhere inside the building.
Кажется, оттуда я сверху слышал какие-то звуки.
Carefully, he walked toward the voices. Then he called out. Almost instantly, someone answered. Behind a doorway stood several men. For a moment, neither side knew what to expect. Trying to avoid any confrontation, the creator introduced himself. The men explained they had been living inside the abandoned building. One of them had recently left the hospital. Another showed the small room where they kept warm. The tension quickly turned into a conversation.
Кто здесь? Кто здесь? Кто? Вы живете, что ли, здесь?
Да.
Не, вы меня не бойтесь, я не причиню вам вред.
Да, по-моему, только снимать не надо, ладно?
Почему?
Не надо.
Почему не надо?
Зачем?
У меня свой канал в интернете, на ютубе.
Слушай, нас ты приходил, что ли? Спрашивал.
Нет, не я. Вы здесь живете, что ли?
Временно, да.
Бездомные?
Нет.
А почему живете здесь?
Ну, некоторые трудности есть семейные.
Все, понял. Я могу вам чем-нибудь помочь?
Если есть сигарет, подай, пожалуйста.
Сейчас дам. Сейчас, секунду. Забирай полностью пачку. Там вроде 2 штучек только не хватает. Не замерзли здесь?
Нет, печка тут.
А сколько у вас?
3.
3? Все, понял, ты весь дрожишь прям.
Ну, я после больницы, сука.
А что случилось? Почему после больницы?
У меня операция была, ну, пальцы обрезали. Отрезали. От мороза
Все, понял.
потеряли.
А можно посмотреть, как у вас там? Просто так, ради интереса.
Тут не снимают, тут они ругаться будут.
Ругаться будут?
Конечно.
Почему?
Ну, они спят уже. Они даже не знают об этом.
Ну, более-менее тепло. Печку просто согревает, да? Если хочешь, пойдем со мной в магазин. Что-нибудь куплю вам поесть.
Не, я, во-первых, не дойду, не спущусь сейчас.
С ногой? Ну, я понял, с ногой проблем. Ну, давай я сам съезжу сейчас, что-нибудь куплю вам поесть.
After leaving the building, the creator went to a nearby store. A short time later, he returned with food: tea, bread, crackers, marshmallows, canned food. Instead of continuing his investigation, he decided to help the people he had unexpectedly found inside. After saying goodbye, he quietly left the building.
Давай, выходи. Там посмотри, я все купил, там печеньки, чай, тушенка, килька. А, единственное, сахар забыл. Из головы вылетело. Но там печенье много, зефир. Вот. Ладно. Давайте, не мерзните.
Ты немножко не можешь оставить.
Денег, что ли? Нет, денег не оставлю, извини. Денег не оставлю. Спасибо, ты хоть скажешь?
Спасибо,
Ладно, давайте, не мерзните.
As he walked away, he realized this investigation had turned out very differently than he expected. He entered the building, searching for answers about strange events. Instead, he discovered people trying to survive inside a place everyone else had forgotten. Sometimes the most unexpected encounters inside abandoned buildings aren't the ones people fear the most. They're the ones they never expected to find. An abandoned tuberculosis hospital. Most people would never dare step inside a place like this, but the explorer behind Abandoned World decided to do exactly that. The danger wasn't just the building itself, the entire property was still under active security surveillance. The moment he entered, the alarm was triggered. Instead of leaving, he chose to continue exploring, hoping security would dismiss it as a false alarm.
Так, сейчас, я думаю, нужно в ту сторону проскочить. Однозначно одна из сигналок сработает, они висят над проемами дверными. Сейчас посмотрю, какая. Обе. А нет, только левая. Но ничего. Как я буду отсюда уходить, я еще даже не знаю. Везде, просто везде сигналки. Это, кстати, изолятор. Изолятор. Такой маленький изолятор, как карцер какой-то. Материал для стерилизации. Опять сработало? Да, опять сработало. Твою мать. Они сейчас будут все открывать. Я окружен. Я решил пройти на второй этаж. На втором этаже нет сигнализации. Да. На втором этаже нет сигнализации. Или... Сейчас я попробую снять машину. Знаете, в чем прикол? Похоже, он меня сейчас видел. Он меня сейчас видел. Я высунулся в окно, и он меня видел. И это очень плохо. Потому что, скорее всего, они теперь должны вызвать полицию. Работая охранником, если мы не могли на что-то повлиять, я жал на кнопку, и уже приезжала полиция, и по всей строгости работала. Поэтому сейчас мне действительно нужно попасть на чердак.
The first rooms looked as though the hospital had only recently been abandoned. Isolation wards, inhalation treatment rooms, medical equipment, chemical supplies, protective goggles, respirators, sterilization materials. Almost everything had been left exactly where it was. The deeper he ventured, the more obvious it became how deadly this disease once was. Patient records still sat on desks, medicine remained inside cabinets, instructions for both staff and patients still hung on the walls. It felt as though time had simply stopped, preserving the hospital exactly as it had been left years ago.
Тишина. Обожаю тишину. Да. Сигналок нет. Итак. Второй этаж мой. Какие большие длинные коридоры, обалдеть. Что это? Это же не анализы, правда? Натрия цитрат. Я надеюсь, я найду где-нибудь перчатки. Первый раз в жизни, когда я хочу найти и одеть перчатки. Резерцин. Глицерин. Здесь может быть много чего интересного, не так ли? Анестезин. Дентин. Хлорамин. Сколько? О-о-о. Это все карточки больных.
But the most unsettling discovery came in one particular room, an isolation ward, a small room where the sickest patients were once kept away from everyone else. The bed was still there. Beside it lay an old pillow covered in countless dark stains. Looking at it, it's impossible not to wonder how many people spent their final days in this room, completely alone. This was where the disease separated patients from the rest of the world.
Как я уже говорил, эти микробы умирают в течение нескольких лет, если у них нет носителя. Ну или свойственной им среды обитания, так сказать. К тому же, самое главное, я слышал сейчас голоса на улице. Похоже, меня опять слышали. Итак, на чем я остановился-то? Ах да, просто достаточно не трогать много всего в палате. Людей. Вот мой отпечаток. Вот не мой отпечаток. Я здесь один. Как он отсюда выбрался? Неужели ему тоже пришлось шуметь? Ну, он пошел сюда. Нет, понятно, что сейчас здесь никого кроме меня нет. Ну, я надеюсь. Походу они отключили ее на сегодня. сработало. Сработало только что. Все, люди, пора мне уходить. А это не тоже работает. Так.
Then the situation suddenly became much more dangerous. Looking out a window, he spotted security officers outside the building. Only minutes later, the police arrived. Leaving unnoticed was no longer an option. To avoid being discovered, he climbed into the attic, turned off his flashlight, stayed perfectly still, and remained hidden in complete silence for nearly an hour while officers searched below. Only after everything finally went quiet did he continue exploring. But the alarm system continued to activate throughout the building, bringing security back again and again. Every unexpected sound forced him to stop and listen. Sometimes, the most terrifying part of exploring abandoned places isn't what was left behind. It's realizing that getting out may be far more difficult than getting in. Some abandoned hospitals feel frozen in time. Others feel as if everyone simply walked away and never came back. That was exactly what Mo Sarji discovered when he stepped inside one forgotten hospital that had been left almost completely untouched. At first, it looked like a time capsule. Hospital beds still stood in the rooms. Medical equipment remained exactly where it had been used. Patient files, x-rays, wheelchairs, even old computers and supplies had never been removed. Instead of empty hallways, every room revealed something new.
It's very rare to find these nowadays, abandoned hospitals. Especially ones that have literally everything. I haven't been through this yet. I just literally looked through this window. I just got in and look at this. Literally everything's just been brought out to the hallways. There's all these like weird Motorola machines. I'm not sure what they're for. This should be a really exciting adventure just to take you guys along. Make you guys feel like you're here with me on this adventure. I'm not sure if there's going to be homeless people in here or people that are going to attack me or I don't know. I'm kind of just going off by myself, hoping to explore this abandoned hospital. Look at this. Got an old bed over here. I don't know any history about this place, and I don't think I'm going to give any. I'm just going to explore it and go with the flow and just see what we find out. Look at this. Controls from back in the day. Honestly, like, this hospital doesn't look like it's that old, but it looks like it's been abandoned for quite some time.
As Mo explored deeper into the building, he began finding signs that made the place feel far more unsettling. Used syringes, medical gloves, old blood samples, shelves filled with laboratory equipment that should have been disposed of years ago. Some containers still held dried blood. Others contained biological samples that had somehow been forgotten after the hospital closed. It was hard to believe that so much had simply been abandoned.
That's pretty interesting. Got another room over here. Oh baby, look at this. Haven't seen one of these in a very long time. This gives you a good clear indication of how old this hospital is. When you have floppy disks like this, you know, back in the day, we used to insert these in the computers and you'd be able to go on a program or an application. These are called floppy disks. But you know, most of my fan base is adults and you guys already know what this is. But for the younger people that watch my videos, which is a small percentage, yeah, this is what we would watch and open up applications and stuff. It's pretty cool. Oh, ew, we got blood covered gloves over here. This is disgusting. I do have a black light, which I brought it with me. Let's see if this actually is blood. And I actually do have luminol. Yeah, that's definitely blood. Oh my god, there is blood in here. Holy shit, that's a lot of blood. So that is a lot of blood. How could they just leave gloves full of blood here behind like this? Like, that's disgusting. And it's very old and dry, as you guys can see.
Then, one room immediately caught his attention. The floor, the walls, the equipment, everything around him was stained with what appeared to be blood. Not just a few drops, large areas across the room were covered with it. Using a UV light, the stains became even more visible. The entire room seemed marked by whatever had happened there years earlier. Exactly what caused it, no one could say.
Oh, that is awesome. Love seeing that. Oh my god. We got blood everywhere. Holy shit. Jeez. Okay, this is, I don't want to be in this room. That's gross. Is that a body bag? No, that's not a body bag. I thought that was a body bag for a sec. Jesus Christ. No, that's just a mattress. It's so strange though. It's got like these pipes coming down from it. So as you guys can see, I do have my UV light over here, and this is all blood. Holy shit, this is literally, there's blood everywhere in this room, man. This is unbelievable. I did not expect this. I don't know why there's so much blood here, but look at it. Look at how it illuminates. Jesus Christ, man. Oh my god. I've honestly never seen this much blood in an abandoned hospital before. Somebody must have cut himself real bad, and not during the hospital days. This must be like something after, like maybe like a homeless man. Maybe somebody slit someone's throat. But yeah, man, there's literally blood everywhere.
The discoveries kept getting stranger. An old rehabilitation room still contained exercise equipment. Nearby, he found stacks of patient x-rays, medical records, and personal belongings that had never been collected. It was as though the hospital had closed overnight, leaving an entire chapter of people's lives behind.
Oh, these are blood vials.
Yes, I know.
This is all blood.
You have gloves, I don't want to pick it up.
Yeah, someone's blood. And it's like dried up and frozen. That is crazy.
See what I don't understand?
Biohazard.
When they abandon these hospitals, why don't they take you to the next hospital? Like,
Angela, did you see this? Blood vials?
I've seen this before, yeah.
Look how crazy this is.
Urine samples.
Yeah. I got Carlos' urine sample.
Ooh, you get it every night, baby.
What the hell? Ugh. Look at the puke. Oh no, this is just gross.
Right?
It doesn't smell bad. It's just seeing it is disgusting.
Yeah, it's just
Right?
a little crazy that it's just here.
Look
More
at,
vials in here.
look at this. We got blood vials everywhere. Human remains, basically. This is crazy. How mad would you be if I threw piss at you right now? Like,
I don't want to.
what the what the was that? That was weird. It's like something just pinched my fingers as I grabbed that. I picked up this urine sample, like no bullshit, and I'm like, how funny would it be if I threw it at Carlo? And then it's like something just like zapped my fingers. Man, there must be somebody connected.
Some electrified pee, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe they were low on electrolytes, or they had too much of it.
Maybe.
Alright, so I am almost done filming this place. There's still the OR, which I haven't seen. Holy shit, I'm not even gonna go into here, because there's just too much in there. And there's, oh, let's go in here. This looks like a really cool area. Lots of stuff left behind here. There's a lot of, what is this? Band-aids? God. What is all this? Electrosurgical tip cleaner. Okay, there's plenty of that here if anybody wants some. I feel so dirty after walking in here. Like, usually I'm all dressed up when I'm inside of these places. Wow, just so much products left behind. Shame on them. They could have easily donated this stuff. But I guess nobody cares, right? Like, look at all this. So much stuff left behind.
Later, while searching another section of the hospital, he came across preserved blood sample tubes, medical testing equipment, and biological materials still sitting inside storage rooms. Some of the samples appeared untouched despite years of abandonment. The further he explored, the more unsettling the building became. Not because of ghosts, but because so much of its past was still waiting inside. Every hallway, every operating room, every forgotten piece of equipment served as a reminder that this place had once been filled with doctors, patients, and emergencies. Now, only silence remained. And sometimes, silence can tell a story better than anything else. The Infernius team expected to explore just another abandoned laboratory, but within minutes, it became clear this place was unlike anything they had seen before. The laboratory was located inside the grounds of an active hospital, which meant they could run into staff or security at any moment. One mistake could bring the entire investigation to an abrupt end.
Тут какая-то непонятная комната. Я не знаю, что это такое. Вот видите, тут горит пожарная сигнализация. Пойдем туда сначала. О. Помните, он говорил про... А, слушай, это клетки, наверное, были. Типа в них животных держали. Блин, ну в них уже давно никого не держат, походу. И причем залаз сюда всего только один. Мы его вообще случайно нашли. Че, пойдем туда? Посмотри, какая. Тут куча какой-то техники. Сам вход, как видите, закрыт на решетку.
At first, the building looked almost ordinary. Long empty corridors, medical offices, a fire alarm system that was still powered on. Signs remained on the doors. Some equipment was still exactly where it had been left. It felt as though the staff had simply walked away and never returned. The deeper they ventured, the more unsettling the atmosphere became. They eventually reached a room marked quarantine. Inside stood dozens of metal cages. Nearby were operating tables, veterinary instruments, medical supplies, and equipment clearly used for animal experiments.
Комната с надписью «Карантин». А, вот они клетки. Типа, где их изолировали. Вот, смотри. Тут, скорее всего, мыши какие-то были. Че, рот прикрыл? Да. Блять, тоже думаю прикрыть. Надеюсь, тут нет никакой инфекции. Опять куча этих клеток. Пойдем из этой комнаты, короче. А то сейчас еще что-нибудь подхватим.
Their next discovery was even more disturbing. Shelves were lined with dozens of glass jars. Inside were preserved embryos, mice, and other laboratory animals suspended in formalin. Nearby sat ampules, test tubes, syringes, and medical containers marked with biohazard warnings. The team avoided touching anything. They had no idea what substances might still remain inside, or whether it was even safe to be standing there.
Даже бритва есть.
Тише, не открывай, блядь, пока эта хуйня не пизданулась.
Тихо, тише.
Блядь, слава богу, эта хуйня пластмасс.
Бритва какая-то.
Ну, это видно, чтобы сбивать, чтобы...
Вот это, кстати, новая. Какого она
Хуй
была?
знает.
Ну, типа, она совсем новая, чувак. Типа, тут вообще работает, походу.
Не знаю.
Тут куча всякой тоже штуки. Как... Ох, чувак, что это такое?
Блядь, что, их эмбрионы?
Да ну! Эмбрионы, слушай. В натуре.
Песок. Над ними конкретно издеваются.
Смотри. Зародыши. Вытащим одного?
Да ты ёбнулся. Вдруг он спидозный.
Смотри, их тут целая куча просто.
Я думаю, даже нашли сотни.
Вот, смотри. Капец, прям плавают, смотри. Мышоныши.
Кролики.
Это не кролики, это мыши.
Ну, кстати,
А вот это что такое? Заражено, слышь?
где, покажи.
Вот, заражение написано. Беречь. Слышь, это какая-то типа, походу, вирус, смотри. Там клетки.
Ага.
Блять, надо руки потом помыть будет.
Then came the moment that shocked them the most. In one of the final rooms, they found cages that still contained live laboratory rats. The animals darted nervously from corner to corner, as if frightened by the team's presence. Some of the cages looked as though they had been used only recently. And that raised an unsettling question. If this laboratory had truly been abandoned, who was still taking care of these animals? They never found an answer.
Ребят, надеюсь, вам понравился этот отсек. Тут реально жесткие находки. Просто прикиньте, сотни трупов крыс. Вот просто замаринованные в пробирке. Это настолько жутко, что прям вообще. Сейчас мы уже будем выходить на улицу и пытаться проникнуть в последний корпус. Я увидел через окно, что там настоящие живые кролики. И сейчас, если у нас получится, я вам их поснимаю и покажу. Ну, короче, уже внутри, походу, здесь кто-то работает. Сейчас посмотрим. Они тут. Забей. Вот здесь кролики. Ребята, смотрите, что мы нашли. Охренеть. Это, короче, крысы, которые чем-то заражены, скорее всего. Посмотрите, сколько их здесь. что, ребята, мы не будем тут долго задерживаться, потому что неизвестно, что у них вообще такое. Капец. Посмотрите, сколько их. Что, пошли?
Just when it seemed nothing else could make this place more disturbing, they entered another section of the complex, an abandoned morgue. After everything they had already seen, this place felt even heavier. Refrigeration chambers, autopsy tables, chemical reagents, rooms once used for embalming. Everything looked as though the staff had left only days before, as if this was where the laboratory's story came to its final chapter. The exploration didn't last much longer. Voices suddenly echoed from outside. It sounded as though people were still working somewhere nearby. Not wanting to take any chances, the team immediately left the property. Sometimes the most terrifying discoveries aren't hidden in ghost stories. They're found in places where the evidence of dangerous experiments still feels far too real. The proper people were given rare access to explore an abandoned mental hospital. But there was one condition: if they got caught inside, they were completely on their own. Their journey began beneath the hospital, inside a maze of forgotten underground tunnels. At first, everything seemed exactly as you'd expect from an abandoned building, until they stepped inside.
Currently, we're in tunnels that travel beneath an abandoned mental hospital. A maintenance worker on the grounds let us in, but warned us that he wouldn't be able to bail us out if we were caught inside.
Oh, they walled it off. Yeah, tunnels wall off, but
It actually goes down really far. But the buildings that were out that way were all demolished. So there's no point trying to get out that way.
Dude.
Holy crap.
Here it is. What is that? A sink.
Almost immediately, they realized this place wasn't truly dead. The electricity was still running. The ventilation system hummed through the empty hallways. Refrigerators were still powered. Heating systems hissed behind the walls. It felt less like a forgotten hospital, and more like a building everyone had simply walked away from, without ever shutting it down. As they explored deeper, they discovered keys left behind in offices, locked rooms, medical laboratories, server rooms, and entire sections that looked as though they had been abandoned overnight.
This smells abandoned.
Yeah.
Wow. See, the noises you're hearing are power and AC.
It's like a lab.
Yeah.
Let's see what's out here.
Wow, it's cool how the windows are like barred off.
Okay, so this is like a video game. We just found keys right here.
We're in Deputy Director's room right now.
Oh yeah. Multiple keys.
Multiple keys. Hey, if we get to a locked door, what does it say on it?
I don't want to show it because it has a school. Don't show this.
I'm not going to show it. I'm just reading it. 242A.
If we want to get the 242, this is 242A, right?
Yes. No, this is 238.
So if we want to get to room 242A, we have to come to room 238.
We're in room 238. We found the keys to room 242 inside of it. So if we want to get in 242, it's like a video game, dude. You gotta find the key.
Then the discoveries became even stranger. One room still had a television running. Nothing but endless static filled the screen, yet somehow that made the silence even more unsettling. Nearby were film reels, medical equipment, X-ray rooms, research laboratories, and microscopic slides containing real biological samples. It felt as though time had frozen the moment the hospital closed its doors.
The biomedical wave.
Yep. Okay.
This is like the coolest room though.
There's a head implant, unilateral, hypothalamic, and cortical. Radio pill caps.
Be very careful where you step in. This is all needles right here.
Rat testes?
Down here, here are the slides.
Yeah, but those aren't named. Those are clean slides.
Oh, these are clean slides.
Yeah.
I don't think we should open them. Oh, those are not clean slides. I can't believe they have slides with blood on them just sitting out here. Are they like blood sample
No,
slides?
they're it's a brain section.
Brain cell sample?
Yeah. Dog barking. Inside? No.
Quiet a second, let's listen.
Do you hear a dog barking?
Yeah, I just heard a dog barking. Where is it coming from? It's not police dogs, is it?
Time to get out.
Time to get out. Dude.
Brian, it's time to get out.
Brian, it's time to go now. It's time to go. It sounded like a German Shepherd.
Yeah,
No,
time to
well,
go.
like
Something was barking.
Outside.
I hope it wasn't police.
Time to
Yeah.
go.
And I hope
Time
it
to
wasn't
go.
time to go.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I heard it clearly. It
Time to
sounded
go.
like it was like moves away.
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down here one floor, and then down out stair 3, because stair 3 is close to the side where we want to go out.
You don't want to
Do you want to check the Do you want to check the situation on the roof? Oh hell no!
There's fun stuff right here.
What?
We are not going up here.
Okay, let's go.
Did you see the signs on the door?
Yeah. Because there's fun stuff.
Yeah, let's just get out. We'll be visible here. You ready to make a go for it?
3, 2, go.
Motion sensor. Motion sensor. Try the door, try the door. Try the door, try the door. 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 We're going. Your car's this way, your car's this way. Yeah, your car's this way.
Then everything changed. Somewhere deep inside the building, they heard the unmistakable sound of a dog barking. Everyone froze. A second bark echoed through the halls. Their first thought, police. If a police dog was inside, it meant someone could already be searching the building. Without taking any chances, they immediately decided to leave. They retraced their steps, made it back through the tunnels, and escaped the property. Later, they realized the dog was probably unrelated, but in that moment, there was no way to know for sure. And sometimes, the scariest part of exploring abandoned places isn't what you see. It's one unexpected sound that tells you it's time to leave. The team behind Infernius knew this wasn't an ordinary abandoned building. The psychiatric hospital had been abandoned years ago, but not all of it. People were still living inside. Some occupied the upper floors, others had turned parts of the property into their home. That meant every sound, every footstep, every opening door could belong to a real person, and getting caught was only a matter of time.
В общем, ребята, мы уже попали внутрь психушки. Чтоб вы понимали, здесь на один этаж выше живут люди. Здесь очень большая слышимость. Там от лестницы все слышно, а у них около лестницы комната. Пошли. Подожди, Маша. Пойдем, не пойдем. Это комната для психов.
From the moment they stepped inside, they spoke in whispers. The building looked abandoned, but it didn't feel empty. Voices could occasionally be heard from the floors above. Someone walked across the staircase, and before long, the group became separated while exploring different sections of the hospital. Being alone inside a place like this only made the tension worse. As they carefully searched room after room, they discovered old nurses' stations, medical equipment, and rows of windows covered with heavy security bars. Everything reminded them what this place had once been.
Ребята, это очень годная заброшка, посмотрите. 6. А самое жесткое — это то, что нас здесь могут спалить. Так. Смотрите, здесь медицинский пост. Тут что-то еще осталось даже.
Then they entered one of the most disturbing rooms in the building. Unlike the rest of the hospital, this room was completely padded. The walls, the doors, even the corners were covered with soft material. A room specifically designed for psychiatric patients who could harm themselves or others. Standing inside, it was impossible not to imagine what this place had once been used for. The atmosphere changed immediately. The room was silent, but it carried a feeling that was difficult to explain.
Короче, я не знаю, либо там на втором этаже обычные люди, либо психи на самом деле. Вот сюда прятались. Куда нам надо? По лестнице? Да, наверх. Пойду посмотрю. Мы спускаемся в подвал психбольницы. Вот оно, чувак. Ё-моё. Я знаю, что вот это такое, это, короче, мешки для тех, у кого кишка из пуза выбьена. Знаете, что самое интересное? Не свети в камеру. То, что мы, короче, сейчас все здесь, а он там может нас закрыть. Да. Второй пошли. Наша комната где? Все, погнали по фасту. Выключайте фонари. Вот эта комната. Комната для психов. 6. Посмотрите. Эта комната выглядит очень круто. Очень крипово. Чтобы вы понимали, те жители этого здания находятся буквально в 10 метрах от нас. И они могут нас спалить. Что? Стены здесь сделаны из мягкого материала, специально для психов.
As the exploration continued, the group made their way into the basement. There they found old restraint bags, equipment once used to control violent patients, along with more abandoned medical supplies. Every new room revealed another reminder of the hospital's past, but the biggest concern was no longer the building itself. It was the people living only a floor above them. Several times, they heard footsteps, doors opening, movement somewhere nearby. Unsure whether someone had noticed them, they decided not to take any unnecessary risks. Eventually, they left the hospital without incident, but the visit left one unforgettable impression. Sometimes, the creepiest part of an abandoned psychiatric hospital isn't its dark history. It's realizing you're exploring it while someone else is still calling it home. In 2021, the creator of the YouTube channel Dark World returned to an abandoned kindergarten. Months earlier, he believed his camera had captured something inside the building. This time, he planned to spend the night investigating the location. But before he could even set up a single camera, he realized someone else was already inside.
Все. Ну, здорово, да.
The investigation began like many others. Dark corridors, broken windows, empty classrooms. Only the sound of dripping water echoed through the building. Every few minutes, he stopped, listening, trying to decide whether the noises were coming from the building or from his own imagination. Several times, he thought someone was following him, but every time he searched the area, he found nothing.
Непонятный совсем. Это... Ребят, я не понимаю, то ли я... Или мерещится мне кого-то, я слышу что-то.
The deeper he explored, the stranger the building became. On the second floor, he discovered a large pentagram painted on the floor. It hadn't been there during his previous visit. Nearby, part of the room looked unexpectedly clean, as though someone had been there not long ago. Still, he continued looking for the best place to leave his cameras.
Смотрите. Уже пентаграмма появилась, а тогда ее не было. Вызывали, что ли, тут кого тоже? Там как будто кто-то в этих вот досках есть. Ай. Ребята, вот вы слыхали, что тут капель вот капает на улице, нету ни дождя, ни ничего, и тут все равно везде все капает. Это такие звуки создает. Не знаю, как этот микрофон будет передавать или камеру, посмотрю. Но это прям со всех сторон, прям даже прислушаться нельзя, все везде отвлекает.
Then he heard voices. At first, they were barely audible. He stopped, waited, listened again. This time there was no doubt. Someone was talking inside the building. The voices grew closer. Slowly, he followed the sound, not knowing who he was about to meet.
Еще машина едет, я не слышу, где это, с улицы или нет. Ребят, там кто-то есть. Там кто-то есть. И что делать? И что делать?
Turning one last corner, he finally saw them. Several young men were standing inside the abandoned kindergarten. The creator immediately greeted them, trying to avoid any misunderstanding. He asked whether they had seen a missing kitten. The group said they hadn't. The conversation remains calm, but as he walked away, he noticed the men continuing to watch him. At that moment, he made his decision. The cameras would stay in his backpack. The investigation was over.
Все. Ну, здорово, да. Здорово, здорово, парни. А вы здесь котенка не видали? Котенка не видали здесь? Котенка потерял. Да. Да просто убежала кошка, все, ну такая маленькая, еще, ну как маленькая. То есть, ну нормально, да, все? Хорош. Я только зашел. Значит, не видали, да? Ну ладно, давайте, парни, отдыхайте. Нет, парни, я не пью. Грубияны. Я, конечно, думал, с улицы будет. Видать, их прожектор ослепил, они камеру не видели, они думали, я с фонарем пришел. Я даже не мог сказать, что не было вообще к такому никогда готов. Так что, ребят, камеры я, значит, не буду расставлять сегодня. Вот так вот бывает на этих заброшках. Конечно, первый раз так увидал. Ну, вроде не агрессивные, но нагловатые какие-то. Так что, ребят, я, наверное, на этом... Вон пошли на Мешель смотреть. Да, вон смотрят. Ходят, отдыхают на заброшках по ночам.
After leaving, he never carried out the investigation he had planned. Perhaps the people inside were simply using the abandoned building as a place to spend their evening. But one thing became clear. The strange sounds that first caught his attention were no longer the biggest mystery. It was discovering that while he believed he was exploring an abandoned building, someone else had been there the entire time. In 2025, the creator of the YouTube channel, Dima Mashevsky, published a video about exploring an abandoned wine factory. Earlier that day, a friend told him he had seen several people wearing long robes walking around the property. They didn't seem to be exploring the building. It looked as though they were there for a reason. Dima decided to find out what was really happening, but only minutes later, he would be running for his life. After meeting his friend, they headed straight to the abandoned wine factory. According to the eyewitness, the robed individuals had been seen there only a short time earlier, so the two explorers began carefully searching the property.
Привет.
Я снимаю, если что, сейчас уже.
Да, хорошо. И выхожу с дачи, слышу какие-то звуки новинки, блядь. Думал, какая-то малышня балуется, типа, понял, троллета поля. Выхожу, иду по тропинке по вот этой вот.
Ага.
И вижу, кто-то стоит в мантии, какие-то, ну, я не вижу, какой-то силуэт.
Так а где они? Вон там вот стояли?
Вот там вот по тропинке, чтобы умыть, увидел.
А сколько это минут назад было плюс-минус?
Минут 20 где-то я тебе написал.
Да, вы суть поняли, Кирилл только что, скорее всего, видел тут сектантов, и мы сейчас идем на их поиски. Если они тут остались, то мы сегодня, наверное, заснимем опять какого-то контента.
Меня уже зовут стрёмно по этой тропинке ходить.
Not long after, they spotted two unknown individuals. Both were wearing long robes. Instead of leaving the explorers, decided to quietly follow them, keeping their distance. The two figures stopped several times, looked around, changed direction, but they never seemed to realize they were being watched.
Сейчас с Кирюхой идем. Вот, видите, вот эту вот заброшку уже видно. Что такое? Там сатанист идет. Я вижу. Стой, подожди. Давай вниз спустимся. Ай-яй-яй, я застрял. Давай, вниз, спускайся вниз. Да, там сектант идет. Тихо. Что такое? Тихо. Ого, их там двое. Бежим. У меня еще телефон очень жестко глючит из-за холода. Я не знаю, записывает там вообще или нет. Да, они куда-то туда зашли, видишь? Да, здесь вход на заброшку. Здесь второй ход на заброшку. А ну. Да, я их вижу. Вот. Короче, видишь? Они вон там вот. Вот, я их вижу. Вот, видите, они вон там, вот тут. Можно чуть-чуть. Видишь, они куда-то идут. Даже они идут. Я не знаю, скорее всего, они идут в главный корпус, там, где они всегда. Но я не знаю. Но видите, тут тоже какая-то заброшка. Здесь, я не знаю, я их впервые вижу. Все, заходи, Сань. Можешь с тобой нажать? Да, они сюда идут, тихо. Да, они нас тут не увидят. Кирилл, они нас, возможно, заметили. Возьми камень на всякий случай. А нет, стой, они куда-то пошли.
Eventually, the two figures entered one of the abandoned buildings. After waiting a few minutes, the explorers moved closer. Inside, they noticed a fire burning on the floor. Beside it stood a man wearing a robe. He appeared to be speaking or reciting something. Exactly what was taking place could not be confirmed. Hoping to get a better look, the explorers decided to circle the room from the opposite side.
Видишь?
Костер как будто горит.
Там что-то горит в здании. Только давай вон там через тот задний вход зайдем. Да, там какой-то костер горит в здании. Это жесть. Смотри. Там что-то горит. Вот, видите? Подожди, давай вот тут заходи. Стой, там яма, мы там не пройдем. Ладно, пошли. Пошли. Что ты идешь? Не знаю, здесь очень давно не был. Вот, ого! Там что-то горит. Ого, это жесть. Мы сейчас идем, да, там сюда какой-то обряд сектантский, я вам отвечаю. Идем туда. Идем. Стой. Подожди. Смотрите. Там что-то горит. А где второй? Я не знаю. Там второй должен быть. Видишь дверь?
But the moment they reached the wall, an unknown man suddenly burst out from around the corner. He immediately charged toward the explorers. Fortunately, one of them managed to use pepper spray. It created just enough time to escape. Without looking back, they ran out of the factory as fast as they could.
Мы хотим устал зайти. Хотим обойти? Да. Пошли. Тише, 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 тише. Блядь! Бежи! Двигаться надо, как-то выбежать. Ай! Блядь, давай камеру, срочно, короче. Срочно бежим отсюда. Побежали нахуй отсюда. Ты это все снимал? Это пиздец, я не знаю. Не, я новинку. Я тупо рванул от него, у меня перец. Слава богу, я перец собой взял, еще один перец. Он бы меня, не знаю, он меня, блядь, бил.
After that, they decided never to return to the abandoned wine factory. Who the robed individuals really were and what they were doing inside the building remains unknown. But one thing is certain. That day, the explorers came dangerously close to people they never expected to encounter. In 2021, the creators of the YouTube channels Slava Super and Ghost Bison published a video about exploring an abandoned bread factory. Before they arrived, friends warned them about something unexpected. The factory was no longer completely abandoned. Security had recently moved in, and according to those who had been there, they weren't alone. Guard dogs now patrolled the property. Even so, the explorers decided to go inside. They believed they could get in and out without being noticed. They were wrong.
Шавка, 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 шавка. Тихо, не беги. Тихо, Слав, тихо, тихо.
Climbing through the fence, they entered the factory. Everything looked abandoned. Empty buildings, broken windows, collapsed roofs. Nothing suggested anyone was still using the property. Even so, they continued moving carefully, stopping every few minutes to listen, watching every doorway, every corridor, every building, trying to avoid being seen.
Короче, друзья, мы сейчас будем выходить через главное КПП, как мы это и любим, чтобы нарваться на охрану. Я надеюсь, нет. О, камера уже розовая мигает, значит 50%. Значит, там мало процентов? Нет, это 50. Иду, если ты пойдешь тоже.
Давай посмотрим, если там собак не будет.
For several minutes, nothing happened. The factory was silent. Then they heard something. A bark. Then another. Each one closer than the last. Within seconds, the entire factory echoed with barking. The explorers froze, trying to figure out where the sound was coming from. Then they saw them. Several guard dogs running straight toward them.
Шавка, 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 шавка. Тихо, не беги. Тихо, Слав, тихо, тихо. Фу, блядь! Фу, блядь! Фу, нахуй! Фу, блядь! Фу, нахуй! Фу, блядь! Чё, блядь, за хуйня, нахуй? Уберите собак, пожалуйста! Мы не знаем, она открытая территория была. Уберите собак! Мы не знаем, как пройти. Уберите собак, пожалуйста! Мы к вам идем, чтобы мы не знали, как выйти. Мы не знали, как выйти. Мы не знали, мы к вам и шли просто. Уберите собак, пожалуйста. Да мы не знали, как выйти. Мы не знали, мы искали выход. Просто. Мы просто выйти. Там, блин, дырка огромная. Там...
There was nowhere to run. Moments later, a security guard appeared. The explorers immediately raised their hands, explaining they believed the factory had been abandoned. Again and again, they pleaded with the guard to hold back the dogs. For several long seconds, the animals continued circling, only a short distance away. Fortunately, the guard managed to call them back before anyone was injured.
Извините за беспокойство, мы не думали, мы не знали.
Мы в прошлом году еще здесь, сюда просто у территории ходили, на территорию не ходили, а тут я сейчас посмотрел по картам, везде пишет, что заброшено, никакой охраны.
Не, ну тут почему? Тут охрана давно, тут вот...
Realizing they had pushed their luck far enough, the explorers immediately left the property. What they expected to be another abandoned factory turned out to be an active guarded site. And had the security arrived just a few seconds later, the outcome could have been very different.
Что оно просто заброшено и все, то есть никто не говорит о собаках.
Ну хорошо, извините за беспокойство.
Да ничего, слава богу, все так нормально обошлось.
Все, спасибо, до свидания.
До свидания, ребята.
Удачной работы вам, удачного рабочего дня.
И вам тоже, смотрите, не попадайте.
Хорошо.
До свидания.
The explorers made it out without being injured, but one detail is easy to overlook. The dogs found them before they ever saw the guard. If they had gone just a little deeper into the factory, their first warning might not have been barking. It might have been too late. In 2018, the creator of the YouTube channel, Alexandra Kievska, published a video about exploring an abandoned architectural landmark. According to the explorers, the building was still being guarded. Security regularly patrolled the area. Getting inside would already be difficult. Getting back out might prove even harder.
Серый, у нас небольшие проблемы.
Батя, я как чувствовал, блядь. Что это у нас получается? Все, блядь?
Just before midnight, the explorers waited inside their car, watching the security guards, trying to predict their route. Only after finding the right moment did they finally enter the building. Inside, everything appeared abandoned. Broken windows, collapsed ceilings, dust covering every room. But knowing security could return at any moment, they never let their guard down.
Просто знаю, ну точнее не знаю, догадываюсь, что здесь может кто-то быть. Я вот на самом деле одного не понимаю. Почему архитектурные памятники, точнее памятники архитектуры в таком ужасном состоянии? Оно вроде бы да, это заброшка, она прикольная, она классная. Но дело в том, что состояние ее все-таки оставляет желать за собой лучшего.
Состояние очень убитое, очень.
Moving through the empty rooms, they heard constant noises, falling debris, wind passing through the broken windows. Several times they stopped to listen, wondering whether someone else was inside. Despite the sounds, they continued their exploration. Eventually, they discovered a hidden passage leading underground.
Даже ничего нет.
Это слева. Или с прохода.
Ага. А ну тихо.
Достань фонарь. Будем лучше светить.
Ага.
Пускай лучше нас здесь возьмут сейчас, чем мы будем бегать от кого-то. Стой, остановись. Мы с миром. Я не люблю говорить, что я ютубер и снимаю видео, но мы ютуберы, и мы снимаем видео. Если вы знаете, что такое ютуберы.
Ну вот сейчас.
The tunnel grew narrower with every meter. Soon, they had to crouch, then almost crawl. The deeper they went, the more confined the passage became. Finally, they reached what appeared to be the end. But when they turned around, something was wrong. The entrance behind them was no longer open.
В такое место мы сейчас с вами, дорогие друзья, попали. Смотрим, что здесь. О, какой крутяк.
Проход какой.
Туды?
Туды.
Это типа с намеком на то, что я первая?
Ну, пожалуй, у тебя же камера.
Да, мне очень удобно. Так, ребята, путешествуйте вместе с нами сейчас по этим странным катакомбам, да. Фух. А тут все ниже и ниже.
For a moment, they believed they had been locked inside. One possibility was that security had discovered their entry and closed the exit. Another was that the heavy door had simply shut on its own. Unable to confirm either explanation, they searched for another way out. Fortunately, they managed to escape through a different exit. Only after reaching their car did they realize how differently the night could have ended.
Серый, у нас небольшие проблемы.
Бать, я ж как чувствовал, блядь. Чё это у нас получается? Все, блядь?
Вот сейчас и смотри, по идее, налево.
Все вижу.
Решили пошутить, но мы все-таки оказались умнее.
Ладно, нас там не ждали. Ладно, полезли, наверное.
Да, полезли. Осталось только, чтобы за ногу кто-то схватил и потащил меня назад, как было бы в нормальном фильме ужасов.
After leaving, they still couldn't say for certain why the entrance had closed. Perhaps security really had found them, or perhaps the old door simply closed on its own. But one thing was certain. If there hadn't been another exit, their night inside the abandoned building could have lasted much longer. In December 2021, the creator behind the channel, Foiskuk Nabyasnimova, returned to an abandoned hospital he had explored before. But this time, his camera captured someone he never even noticed. And later that night, he discovered he wasn't alone.
Вещи-то вполне себе неплохие, но бомжовские. А это кто?
But to understand how he got there, we need to go back to the beginning. According to the Explorer, a serious accident had recently occurred inside the hospital. A teenage girl had fallen down an elevator shaft. After the incident, many entrances and dangerous sections were sealed off. Getting inside was now much harder than before. Eventually, the Explorer found another way in, through the basement.
Короче, ребята, какой-то подвальный люк нашел, я его раньше не видел. После того, как девчонка разбилась, видимо, все замуровали здесь. Приходится заползать непосредственно через подвал. Слушайте, а я тут не был, блин. Это, короче, часть подвала, которую я вообще не видел. Нихера прикол. Огромный какой.
The passage led into a section of the hospital he had never explored before. Dark tunnels, crumbling rooms, and dangerous openings stretched beneath the building. But while filming, his camera captured something he wouldn't notice until much later.
Меняется потихонечку заброшка, меняется. Шифр этот непонятный. Вот они, эти дырки.
Did you see it? In the darkness, a human figure can be seen. The Explorer never noticed it while he was there. He only discovered it later while reviewing the footage. Who this person was or why they were there is unknown. But soon, the Explorer began hearing something. Footsteps.
Кто-то явно сюда идет. К зданию подходит.
He searched the nearby area, but found no one. Then later, in another part of the hospital, he saw someone.
По-любому там кто-то есть. Вот не зря мне кажется, что кто-то ходил. Я же говорил. Хрена. Я точно здесь не один. И это был человек, Похоже, наверное, тот, кто здесь живет в этой комнате. Охренеть.
A figure briefly appeared among the abandoned rooms before disappearing out of sight. Whether this was the same person captured earlier is impossible to know, but deeper inside the hospital, the explorer found something even stranger. In one of the rooms was a large pile of belongings: clothes, books, school textbooks, personal items. Some of them looked far too recent to have been sitting inside an abandoned hospital for years. It looked as though someone had brought them there. The explorer moved closer, and then...
О, нифига. Да тут чей-то гардероб. Может быть, это за мной следит. Хозяин всего этого барахла. Смотрите, здесь какие-то книжки, учебники. Вчера прикол. Вещи-то вполне себе неплохие, на бомжовские. А это кто?
Я.
Неожиданно. А вы где?
А вам зачем?
Да, собственно, не зачем, конечно.
Ну, давайте разойдемся миром.
Hidden among the belongings was a woman. She was so well concealed beneath the clothes and surrounding objects that the explorer could have easily walked right past her. He asked if she needed help.
А вам помощь не нужна?
Сигареты есть?
Да не курю, к сожалению.
Ну, тогда все.
А вы не боитесь замерзнуть здесь?
Да вроде пока нет.
Да.
Доброй ночи.
И вам спокойной ночи. Да, ребят, вот так неожиданно местного жителя встретил, точнее местную жительницу. Ни хрена прикол.
According to the explorer, it was around minus 25 degrees Celsius outside. Despite the cold, the woman told him she was fine and didn't need help. After a brief conversation, they wished each other a good night, and the explorer continued on his way. But that wasn't the end of the story. Earlier, the explorer had noticed a police vehicle near the hospital, and when he later made his way outside, officers were waiting for him. According to the explorer, they questioned him about what he was doing inside the building, so he showed them the footage from his camera, and that's when they saw the woman.
Все, ребят, буду закругляться. Прикиньте сейчас, что произошло. Мне абсолютно не показалось, что УАЗик остановился. Я спускаюсь ниже, а внизу стоят, представляете, вот на этом этаже стоят полицейские. Такие, ходи сюда, ты что здесь делаешь? В общем, подумали, что я делаю тут закладки. Хорошо, что у меня видеозаписи есть. Я им показал эти видеозаписи, но они поняли, что совершенно по другому профилю здесь работаю. Еще какая-то табличка, смотрите, тоже похожая, гадалка какая-то. В общем, просмотрели ребята они эти записи, наткнулись на ту запись, где я снимал непонятную женщину, закопанную в груди вещей и ботинок. Ну, короче, вытащили они ее из этой кучи и повезли куда-то в социальный приют. Переключились они на нее по-быстрому, а меня оставили. С одной стороны, конечно, неприятно, с другой стороны, это наоборот хорошо. Ну, сейчас зима на улице. Что с ней будет, замерзнет.
After seeing the recording, the officers went back inside. According to the explorer, the woman was found, brought out, and taken away. He believed she may have been taken to a shelter, but exactly where she was taken could not be confirmed. What began as another exploration of an abandoned hospital ended with the discovery of someone hidden so well among the ruins that she could have easily gone unnoticed. And with temperatures reportedly reaching minus 25 degrees Celsius, perhaps this unexpected encounter happened at exactly the right time. In 2018, YouTuber Alexandra Kievskaya entered an abandoned building in Kiev with her companion. Not long after going inside, they began hearing footsteps from somewhere inside the building. But when they discovered that the basement was flooded, the sounds they heard coming from below became much harder to explain.
Ну это не вода. Ты слышишь? Опять?
At first, the exploration seemed completely normal. The building was badly deteriorated, broken stairs, boarded up windows, and water leaking inside. But only a few minutes into the exploration, Alexandra and her companion heard movement somewhere above them. It sounded like footsteps. They stopped and listened, but they couldn't see who or what was making them. Then, while exploring the lower part of the building, they found the basement. There was just one problem. It was flooded. Getting down through the entrance they had found was impossible, and while standing near the darkness below, they heard something again.
Сереж, ты ничего не слышишь сверху? Я слышу. Там ходит кто-то. Да, шаги слышно. Такие вообще. Так, а ты не слышишь, что сверху происходит, нет? Я вообще не слышу ничего. Иди сюда. Вот над нами. Ну, прям такое губ-губ, типа там вот сверху со стороны лестницы очень слышно.
О, сейчас
слышишь?
Слышу. Да.
This time, the sound seemed to be coming from below, from somewhere inside the flooded basement. At first, they sounded like footsteps. Alexandra shined a powerful flashlight into the darkness, but she couldn't see what was causing them. And then, the sounds became even stranger. According to the explorers, they could now hear what sounded like human voices.
Не знаю, видно ли вам там воду, ребят, но там абсолютно весь подвал затоплен. Это очень странно выглядит, даже страшно. И я, честно говоря, не знаю, что там можно встретить в том подвале. Ты слышишь? Ты слышишь?
Да.
Там в подвале. Ты слышишь?
Ага.
Блядь. Я просто ничего не могу там высмотреть, там темно. Ты слышишь?
Да.
Ну, такое. Уже как-то все очень напряжно. Мне вообще эта заброшка не понравилась. Она выглядит как-то не так, как все.
Зловеще.
Опять слышишь?
Опа.
Что там происходит?
Ого.
Ну, это не вода. Блядь.
They had no idea who or what they were hearing, so they decided to check the rest of the building. They searched the staircase, the upper floor, and the nearby rooms, but found no one. According to Alexandra, the floor near the staircase was damp, yet they couldn't see any obvious fresh footprints suggesting someone had recently walked through. That didn't prove the building was empty, but it left them with no clear explanation for what they had heard. Despite everything, they continued exploring, and then they heard the most disturbing sound of the entire night.
Заброшка, по сути, в центре города находится. Это очень странно. Я не поверю во что, когда мы сюда зайдем, здесь что-то вообще... Это с подвала с того. Бля, я тебе серьезно говорю. Я подошла, оно затихло.
Начали идти и сразу замолчало.
Ты слышал?
Друзья, вы все это слышали?
Ебануться. Только не говорить, блядь. Это пиздец. Я тоже сняла.
Да ну его нахуй, блядь, что это за место?
Я понятия не имею.
Там как будто бы, блядь, армия солдат кричит.
Тебе говорю, это адский подвал какой-то. Блядь, я просто даже не знаю, что это за дом, ты понимаешь?
Так и я тоже.
Ты слышишь? Опять?
Саша, давай отсюда уходить потихонечку. Я думаю, мы достаточно.
Не, мне тоже что-то не особо тут нравится.
After that, they decided they had seen enough. They left the building. Outside, Alexandra tried to make sense of what had happened. First there were footsteps, then strange sounds, and what they believed were voices coming from below. And finally, a sound that seemed almost like someone screaming.
Не, ну я очень рада, что мы выбрались, конечно. Я стою не так уж на самом деле далеко, буквально метров за 20 от этой заброшки, но ощущения у меня, честно говоря, вот такие вот у меня ощущения. Я ненавижу такие моменты, вот когда мне что-то либо слышится, но в этот раз там действительно не послышалось. Во-первых, это все исходило из подвала, это сначала были просто шаги, потом странные звуки, но под конец уже просто как будто кто-то орал. Фух, не, может у меня уже реально паранойя.
Да, ну что, у нас двоих, и мы оба это слышим. Но это звуки эти реально было слышно, как будто хор просто кричит что-то, ай, какую-то херню.
Exactly what caused those sounds was never determined. There may have been a perfectly ordinary explanation, but while they were inside the building, they never found the source. And if the sounds really were coming from the flooded basement, one question remained. What exactly was down there? In November 2023, urban explorer Iggy Profess uploaded a video showing himself and several friends entering a heavily secured high-rise construction site in New York City. Their goal was simple: get inside, climb as high as they could, and leave without being caught. Getting in was only the beginning, because after climbing dozens of floors, they unexpectedly came face to face with security. And from that moment, the challenge was no longer getting to the top, it was getting back out.
We ain't going fucking nowhere.
According to the video, security was already around the building when the group arrived. Instead of entering through the lower floors, they found another way into the structure and began climbing. There were no working elevators, so every floor had to be reached on foot. 10 floors, 20, 30. The higher they climbed, the more exhausting it became. But eventually they reached around the 40th floor, and that's where someone was waiting.
I say we go straight up to the second floor. For what? Climb up right here. Straight up. Don't start from the first because there's security down there.
Go.
No, for my dad. You guys gotta go upstairs. Alright, bro.
Could be up here more.
Could I at least take a video of the view?
No, I can't. I can't let you, man. Just go down.
Alright, bro. Appreciate it.
Alright, I'm just trying to be nice to you.
A security guard stopped them and told them they couldn't go any higher. The group agreed to head back down. At least that's what they appeared to do. After descending a few floors, they stopped. They had already climbed nearly 40 floors, and they weren't ready to give up just yet. But by now security knew they were inside. As they began moving through the building again, they started hearing voices and movement around them.
We hear security everywhere. Kinda scared. We have to be extremely quiet because there might be security. Everybody's paranoid because that security guard came out of nowhere. I just realized all the noises that we've been hearing might have actually been people and not the wind.
At first they weren't sure whether every sound was actually someone searching for them, but the closer they got to the lower levels, the more nervous they became. They believed security could be waiting near the stairs, so they moved as quietly as possible, trying to find another way out. Then they spotted someone. From that point, everything happened quickly. The group started running through the building, trying to reach an exit before security could stop them. But near the end, one of the guards caught up with them.
Yo, where the fuck are you going? Where you going, bro? Where you going? You ain't going fucking nowhere.
What began as an attempt to reach the top of a New York high-rise ended with security waiting for them before they could simply disappear. They had managed to climb dozens of floors without being stopped, but once security knew they were inside, getting back out became the hardest part. In 2023, YouTuber Idar Biglove decided to spend the night completely alone inside an abandoned complex hidden in the woods. He didn't even know exactly what the place had once been. At first, he suspected it might have been some kind of hospital, but after exploring the buildings, he decided to set up a tent and stay until morning. Everything remained quiet for the first few hours, but sometime in the middle of the night, Idar woke up to a sound somewhere outside his tent, and this time, it didn't sound like the building simply falling apart.
Нет, это уже шаги. Кто здесь?
Earlier that day, Idar had arrived at the abandoned complex alone. The location didn't appear on the map, and he wasn't certain what the buildings had originally been used for. Inside, he found children's belongings, large empty rooms, and areas that initially made him wonder if the complex had once been some kind of medical facility. After exploring for several hours, he found a place where he believed he could safely set up his tent.
В общем, я думаю, разложить здесь палатку, потому что, во-первых, если что, я услышу, если вдруг кто-то каким-то образом сюда начнет подниматься, тут есть лестница, я услышу. Вот, и отсюда никто не сможет добраться. В общем, я собрал палатку, ребята, вот моя палаточка. На крайний случай, здесь открытые окна, но и не слишком высоко. Вроде все нормально.
As darkness fell, every small sound became much harder to ignore. At first, Idar heard occasional noises around the building. He knew there could be a simple explanation. The structure was deteriorating, and pieces of debris could fall at any moment. Eventually, he managed to fall asleep. But roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours later, he woke up. Something was moving somewhere nearby.
В общем, я поспал 1,5-2 часа и услышал какой-то шум. Что это? Что это? Тут ничего нет.
At first, he thought it might simply be falling debris, but the longer he listened, the more the sound seemed like footsteps. Idar left his tent and began checking the building. He couldn't see anyone, but he became convinced someone else might be inside. And then, the situation suddenly escalated. He heard movement again, this time much closer, and moments later, someone appeared to be following him.
Как будто камень какой-то сыпется. Падает. Стоп. Нет, это уже шаги. Кто здесь? Надо валить отсюда, надо отсюда. Тихо. Вещи. Плохо на эту палатку. Кто здесь?
For a few moments, Idar had no idea who was behind him or why they were there. But what he didn't know was that not everything happening that night was what it seemed. The video then reveals that Idar's cameraman knew where he had gone, and together with several others, he had traveled to the abandoned complex for one reason: to scare him.
Ребят, просто я не знаю, почему мне так везет всегда. С этими, блядь, заброшками. Так, дойти. Сука. Так. Прям за мной, походу, идут. Да, там кто-то идет. Может, охрана? Я не знаю. Блядь, ну это лес. Кто? Так.
Страшно ночью, да, спать?
Блин.
Как тебя чуть с одному, да?
Это было жестко. Твою мать. Бля.
Че, жутко?
Вообще, бля, просто пересрался.
А че,
Я пытался...
верни камеру. Ну как тебе, Айдар Биглов?
У меня слов нет, я пока говорить не могу, потому что я вообще типа, типа в камбусе. Это вообще было просто... В общем, было жестко. Жестко было, жестко.
The person Idar believed was following him was part of the prank, and what it seemed like a dangerous encounter with an unknown stranger was eventually revealed to have been staged by people he knew. However, that doesn't necessarily explain every sound Idar reported hearing earlier in the night. From the footage alone, it's impossible to determine which earlier noises were caused by the prank, and which may have simply been the sounds of an old building or the surrounding forest. But one thing was finally clear. By the end of the night, Idar wasn't as alone as he thought. The proper people were given rare access to explore an abandoned mental hospital. But there was one condition: if they got caught inside, they were completely on their own. Their journey began beneath the hospital, inside a maze of forgotten underground tunnels. At first, everything seemed exactly as you'd expect from an abandoned building, until they stepped inside.
Currently, we're in tunnels that travel beneath an abandoned mental hospital. A maintenance worker on the grounds let us in, but warned us that he wouldn't be able to bail us out if we were caught inside. Oh, they walled it off. So yeah, tunnels wall off, but it actually goes down really far. But the buildings that were out that way were all demolished. So there's no point to try and get out that way.
Dude.
Holy crap.
Here it is. What is that? A sink.
Almost immediately, they realized this place wasn't truly dead. The electricity was still running. The ventilation system hummed through the empty hallways. Refrigerators were still powered. Heating systems hissed behind the walls. It felt less like a forgotten hospital and more like a building everyone had simply walked away from, without ever shutting it down. As they explored deeper, they discovered keys left behind in offices, locked rooms, medical laboratories, server rooms, and entire sections that looked as though they had been abandoned overnight.
This smells abandoned. Yeah.
Wow. See, the noises you're hearing are power and AC.
It's like a lab.
Yeah. Let's see what's out here. Wow, it's cool how the windows are like barred off.
Okay, so this is like a video game. We just found keys right here.
We're in the deputy director's room right now. Oh yeah. Multiple keys.
Multiple keys. Hey, if we get to a locked door, what does this say on it?
I don't want to show it because that's a school. Don't show this.
I'm not going to show it. I'm just reading it. 242A.
If we want to get the 242A, this is 242A, right?
Yes. No, this is 238.
So if we want to get to room 242A, we have to come to room 238.
We're in room 238. And we found the keys to room 242 inside of it. So if we want to get in 242, it's like a video game, dude. You got to find the key.
Then the discoveries became even stranger. One room still had a television running. Nothing but endless static filled the screen, yet somehow that made the silence even more unsettling. Nearby were film reels, medical equipment, X-ray rooms, research laboratories, and microscopic slides containing real biological samples. It felt as though time had frozen the moment the hospital closed its doors.
The biomedical way.
Yep. Okay. This is like the coolest room though.
There's a head implant, unilateral, hypothalamic, and cortical. Radio pill caps.
Be very careful where you're stepping. This is all needles right here.
Rat testes?
Down here, here are the slides.
Yeah, but those aren't named. Those are clean slides.
Oh, these are clean slides.
Yeah.
I don't think we should open them. Oh, those are not clean slides. I can't believe they have slides with blood on them just sitting out here. Are they like blood sample slides?
No, they're it's a brain section.
Brain cell sample?
Yeah. A dog barking inside? No.
Quiet a second, let's listen.
Did you hear a dog barking?
Yeah, I just heard a dog barking. Where is it coming from? It's not police dogs, is it?
Time to get out.
Time to get out. Dude.
Brian, it's time to get out.
Brian, it's time to go now. It's time to go. It sounded like a German Shepherd.
Yeah,
No,
time to
well,
go.
like-
Something was barking.
Outside.
I hope it wasn't police.
Time to
Yeah.
go.
And I hope
Time
it
to go.
wasn't
Time to go.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, I heard it clearly. It
Time to
sounded
go.
like it was like moves away.
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down here one floor, and then down out stair 3, because stair 3 is close to the side where we want to go out.
You don't want to
Do you want to check the situation on the roof? Oh hell no.
There's phone stuff right here. What?
We are not going up here.
Okay, let's go.
Did you see the signs on the door?
Yeah. Because there's phone stuff.
Yeah, let's just get out. We'll be visible here. You ready to make a go for it?
Me too, go.
Motion sensor. Motion sensor. Try the door, try the door. Try the door, try the door. 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 We're going. Your car's this way, your car's this way. Yeah, your car's this way.
Then everything changed. Somewhere deep inside the building, they heard the unmistakable sound of a dog barking. Everyone froze. A second bark echoed through the halls. Their first thought, police. If a police dog was inside, it meant someone could already be searching the building. Without taking any chances, they immediately decided to leave. They retraced their steps, made it back through the tunnels, and escaped the property. Later, they realized the dog was probably unrelated, but in that moment, there was no way to know for sure. And sometimes, the scariest part of exploring abandoned places isn't what you see. It's one unexpected sound that tells you it's time to leave. He wasn't moving, he wasn't responding, and the longer they stared into the room, the more terrifying the possibility became. What if they had just found a body? Only minutes earlier, this had seemed like a routine exploration of an abandoned house. Now, they were discussing whether they needed to call the police. But to understand how they got to that moment, you have to go back to the beginning. That day, the creator behind D-Dog Vlogs and his friend set out to explore a large abandoned house. From the outside, it looked like countless other forgotten properties. Overgrown surroundings, broken windows, weathered walls, and every sign that nobody had lived there for a very long time.
Not really sure what to expect. Still open, that's a good sign. A little bit sketch to get in, but...
Hey guys, sorry that was a rocky start. Where'd you go? I'm just... Are you there?
Once inside, they immediately noticed how much had been left behind. Furniture, personal belongings, children's toys, evidence of a life that had once filled the home. But before long, they discovered something far more unusual. Several rooms had been converted into makeshift grow operations. Insulated walls, modified spaces, signs that someone had once been cultivating illegal plants inside the house. It quickly became clear that this property had a story behind it, and perhaps a reason why it had been abandoned so suddenly. As they continued exploring, the house began to feel less abandoned. Strange noises echoed from above. Unexplained sounds came from distant rooms, and certain areas felt as though somebody had been there recently. The attic was especially unsettling. Old objects, discarded belongings, creepy figures hidden among the clutter. Every step seemed to increase the tension. Then they heard something. A noise, not particularly loud, but loud enough to stop them in their tracks. Moments later, they heard another one, closer this time. The explorers decided to investigate, and that's when they noticed something strange. A door. During a previous visit, that room had been completely sealed shut. Now, it was open.
Yeah. You can see right outside. That's not a good sign. No.
What the hell? You should see this haze that just came across my camera.
No, I got nothing. Hello?
Hello?
What the fuck was that? Hello?
This place is really creepy.
Let's go check that out.
The atmosphere changed instantly. The explorers slowly approached, shining their lights into the darkness, and then they saw it. A person, lying motionless at the far end of the room. For several seconds, nobody knew what to say. The man wasn't moving, he wasn't responding, and from where they stood, it looked like they might be staring at a dead body. Curiosity immediately turned into concern. This was no longer an urban exploration. This could be an emergency. The explorers called out to him, trying to get a response, trying to determine whether he was alive. But the situation felt serious enough that they made a decision. They were calling the police.
I'm scared to open it. You go open it. I got the wide angle on you just in case. What is... That stinks.
Oh.
What the fuck? Yo!
What? What is
Do you not see that at the very end? That's a body.
Is it?
There's a body in there. Yo, yo. Hello? Are you alive? That is somebody laying there, dude.
That's somebody laying there. See that? Oh my god, that's somebody fucking laying there.
What the fuck? They're not even moving. Hello?
You gotta get this.
Hey, you okay?
You guys see that? That's literally a person. What the fuck should we do? We should go.
We're gonna have to call the police and just tell them.
Yeah, we have to.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's go.
The exploration ended right there. Everything else suddenly seemed unimportant. Who was this man? Why was he inside the abandoned house? How long had he been there? Many of those questions remained unanswered. But one thing became clear. The most unexpected discoveries inside abandoned places aren't always ghosts. Sometimes the thing waiting behind a forgotten door is very real. The creator behind Uncharted Travel decided to do something most explorers would never attempt. Spend an entire night camping alone inside an abandoned prison. No cell service, no nearby towns, no other people. Just him, an old prison, and miles of wilderness in every direction. At the time, he thought the prison itself would be the most dangerous part of the trip. A few hours later, he would realize how wrong he was. Because after dark, something started moving around his campsite. Up until then, everything had gone according to plan. After a long drive and a 2-hour hike through the wilderness, he finally reached the abandoned prison. The place had been sitting empty for decades. Cell blocks, guard stations, heavy steel doors, all slowly being reclaimed by nature. Rumors surrounded the property. Some people claimed it was occasionally used for military training. Others said security still visited from time to time. But none of that worried him as much as the surrounding wilderness. Out here, help was a very long way away.
I'm both nervous and excited to get inside and start exploring. First thing on the agenda will be to find a site to set up camp for the night.
While there was still daylight, the prison felt relatively harmless. He explored the old cell blocks, walked through abandoned hallways, examined what remained of the facility, trying to imagine what life must have been like for the inmates who once lived there. But as the sun began to disappear, the atmosphere changed. The silence became heavier, the hallways felt darker, and being completely alone started to feel very real. Eventually, he chose an old cafeteria as his campsite, set up his tent, organized his gear, and prepared for the night. At the time, it seemed like the safest place in the entire prison. Later, it would become the last place he wanted to be.
The paranoia started to set in. Getting creeped out every now and again. It's only going to get worse as it gets darker. So I'm just trying to familiarize myself with the area before it does get too dark. Probably gonna head back and set up camp soon.
Once darkness arrived, everything felt different. Rain echoed through the building. Water dripped from unseen corners. Every sound seemed louder than it should have been. Unable to sleep, he decided to continue exploring. He searched the lower levels, found old boiler rooms, followed flooded service tunnels beneath the prison. The deeper he went, the stranger the place began to feel. More than once, he thought he heard movement somewhere nearby, but every time he checked, there was nothing there. Eventually he returned to camp, hoping to finally get some rest.
Some sort of tunnel system. I wonder where it goes. Oh, now this is creepy. Yeah, definitely gonna have to change socks tomorrow. Oh, this is the piping for underneath the whole prison. Oh, it's getting super deep here. My feet are fully submerged.
That didn't last long. Not long after settling into the tent, he began hearing noises outside. At first, they seemed distant, easy to dismiss, but then they came again, closer. This time, sounding as though something was moving through the hallways surrounding the cafeteria. He stepped outside to investigate. Nothing. Everything appeared quiet, so he returned to the tent. A few minutes later, the sounds came back, again and again, each time seeming closer than before. Hours passed. The noises never completely stopped. At some point, it became impossible to ignore the feeling that something was circling the campsite, watching, waiting, slowly getting closer. That's when he made a decision. He packed up his gear, left the cafeteria, and moved to the roof of the prison, barricading the access door behind him. But even there, the sounds continued. He could still hear movement below. Footsteps, scratching, something traveling through the building beneath him. Then came a sound that immediately changed everything. Growling, low, aggressive, and far too close.
This place makes so much noise, like when you can't discern raindrops from wind, from animals, from scratches, from whatever. It messes with your mind, man. It's so hard to sleep here. But I'm gonna try. It's really late and I'm really tired. Holy, there's a coyote outside. Right outside my tent. Hey buddy, you wanna leave me alone? It's gonna be a long night. I just wanna go to sleep. Go away! Go away! There's something growling at me.
Only as morning approached did he finally discover what had been stalking him throughout the night. Coyotes. Not one, not two, an entire pack. For hours, they had been circling the prison, returning again and again, getting closer every time. Even after he moved to the roof, they continued searching for him. When sunrise finally arrived, so did relief. The prison once again looked quiet, empty, harmless. But the night had been anything but, because sometimes the most dangerous thing you encounter at an abandoned place isn't inside the building. It's waiting somewhere in the darkness outside. Some abandoned places look completely empty. That's exactly why people keep coming back to them, exploring forgotten corridors, descending into underground tunnels, expecting to find nothing but silence. But sometimes, the biggest danger isn't hiding in the darkness. It's waiting around the next corner. That night, Sergei Ognev and his friends set out to explore an abandoned bunker. The location sat on the edge of the city. From the outside, it looked completely abandoned. Graffiti covered the walls. The entrances were damaged. Signs of countless previous visitors could be seen everywhere. At first glance, it seemed like nobody cared about the place anymore.
Сейчас мы находимся при спуске в заброшенный бункер. Здесь, как мы видим, все изрисовано в граффити. Здесь тусовались все, кому не лень. По пентаграммам и сектанты, и просто школьники, и анархисты, непонятно кто. Все, кому не лень, сюда приходили. Сейчас мы идем вниз. Будем спускаться. Что там, как дверь есть?
Так стрёмно капает капелька, блин.
Ух. Короче, здесь были гермодвери. Сейчас убрали их отсюда целиком. Вот, они, походу, здесь стояли, их срезали, вывезли на металл. Это убежище настолько размародерили, что здесь можно встретить кого угодно. Здесь все обитают, кому не лень. Находится он почти в самом центре города. Я скажу, что могут вызвать полицию. Будем стараться очень осторожно и тихо здесь гулять. И в случае чего будем эвакуироваться.
Once inside, the explorers began searching through the underground complex. Most of the bunker appeared heavily stripped. Massive blast doors had been removed. Metal structures were gone. Evidence of years of looting could be found in every section. But something didn't feel right. Some of the infrastructure looked surprisingly new. Certain pipes appeared recently installed. Parts of the facility showed signs of ongoing work. And that raised an uncomfortable question. What if this place wasn't completely abandoned after all? The deeper they explored, the stranger the atmosphere became. Occult symbols covered the walls. Strange messages had been left behind. Every hallway seemed to carry the feeling that someone else had been there recently. Still, the explorers continued forward, until they encountered something they never expected. A security guard. The appearance was sudden, and it immediately changed the mood.
Здесь сквозной проход, видимо, на улицу ведет. Да. Здравствуйте. А вы охраняете?
А ты кто такой?
Я очень был удивлен встретить охрану на таком объекте. Однако меня это не смутило, и я решил пообщаться. Ведь ничего плохого мы не сделали. Но что из этого диалога вышло, смотрите сами. Да, мы блогеры, просто снимаем видео. В бункере заброшен. Мы в бункере снимаем видео.
А что вы тут делаете?
Видео снимаем просто в заброшенном бункере, блогеры.
Иди сюда.
Здесь не заброшенный бункер.
Так, подождите.
Здесь строй.
Сейчас не долго.
Нет,
Я
нет,
понимаю,
нет,
не
нет,
должен.
нет,
Я свои
нет.
права знаю в первую очередь.
Слышь, пошли, мне похуй.
Так, уберите руку.
Вы кто
и
такой?
разговаривайте по-человечески.
Вы кто такой?
Я видеоблогер. Веду YouTube канал.
Где не звони?
Вы зашли на заброшенную территорию.
Мы охранники. Видишь?
Это не заброшенная
Нет, не
территория,
вопрос.
это охраняемая территория.
Давайте по-человечески общаться.
Ты зашел на частный...
Леня, звони.
Это подожди. Я
По-человечески
подожди.
умеете разговаривать?
Да, выключи.
Нет, я не выключу камеру.
Выключи.
Откуда я знаю, что у вас на уме?
А?
Откуда я знаю, что у вас на уме?
А я откуда знаю, что у тебя на...
А зачем ты зашел?
У меня вот
Значит
видеокамера.
так, держи его, я
по-человечески прошел к вам
Держи
пообщаться.
его,
А
держи
зачем ты
его.
залез? Я услышал,
Держи.
кто-то кричит.
Всё.
Давай,
Держи
звони,
его.
езжай.
Нет, звоните куда хотите, мы свои права знаем.
Кто-то
И
еще
то, что
тут?
мы нарушили, знаю тоже.
Кто-то еще тут?
Да, есть там игра.
Дали его. Наташ, кто-то еще человек.
У нас все записано
Давай.
на камеру.
Да мне похуй.
Наши умыслы.
Мне похуй.
Как мы сюда попали.
Как
вы
попали?
среагировали.
Как попали?
Как вы начали хватать.
Как попали? Мне похуй. Я
Вот.
тут охранник.
Дыра в заборе у вас там.
И чё?
Просто зашли
Я услышал, я услышал.
Ну?
Я
Так вы же
услышал.
умеете по-человечески общаться?
Да, я
Я
охранник.
тоже человек, я
Вон
понимаю
по
вас.
видеокамерам все снимают, что ты тут лазишь по
Понятное
подвалу.
дело, то, что мы
Зачем
сюда
ты залез?
попали. Мы увидели заброшенную
Зачем?
территорию. мы
Какая
попали.
заброшенная территория?
Мы обошли вокруг.
Какая
мы
заброшенная
здесь нашли.
территория? Видишь, тут стройка идет. Тут охранники сидят.
Откуда я могу знать, что здесь
Тебе
идет
лицензию
стройка?
показать?
Покажите лицензию.
Хуля ты пиздишь, ебать? Видишь, что стройка? Видишь, что
Давайте
закрыто?
по-человечески, я тоже
Замки
могу
стоят на заборах.
Где замки? Мы
Вон,
зашли,
замки
мы зашли
на
в
заборе.
дыру. Мы через дверь зашли или что?
Да мне похуй, как вы зашли. Сейчас менты будут разбираться. Давай, второго зови.
Слушай, ну если ты такой дерзкий, давай сейчас пообщаемся.
Пообщайся.
Давай сейчас пообщаемся.
Давай.
Я твое лицо снял.
Да мне похуй, я тоже буду снимать.
Популярный будешь охранник. По-человечески общаешься.
Давай, зови, куда ты идешь? Сюда.
В смысле, блядь, сам сказал зови, я иду звать.
Сюда стоять.
И что
Зови
тебе
так.
еще? Стоять, блядь. Иди нахуй. Стоять тебе, блядь.
Стоять.
At first, Sergey tried to remain calm. He explained that they were filming videos, that they weren't damaging anything, that they were simply documenting the location. But the conversation quickly began falling apart. The tension increased with every second. The guard became more aggressive, his voice grew louder, and before long, it became obvious that this situation wasn't going to end peacefully. The explorers made a decision: leave immediately. What had started as a routine urban exploration suddenly became an escape. They rushed toward the exit, trying to put as much distance as possible between themselves and the bunker, but getting out wasn't easy. During the escape, Sergey lost part of his equipment. While trying to recover it, he found himself trapped near a section of barbed wire. His clothes were torn, his path was blocked, and for a short time, he was forced to hide nearby while the situation cooled down. Meanwhile, his friend had already escaped the area, leaving Sergey alone near the bunker, waiting for the right moment to move.
Корректно ли я поступил в данной ситуации? Думаю, да. Но судить, конечно же, вам. От него дико разило алкоголем, и несмотря на неадекватный разговор, я старался быть максимально спокойным. Этот пропитый этиловый вурдалак сам не понимал, что хочет, поэтому, послав его в самые лучшие места этой планеты, я побежал эвакуироваться. Козёл.
Eventually, both explorers managed to get away safely. No arrests, no serious injuries, but it was a night they wouldn't forget. Because sometimes, the most dangerous part of an abandoned location isn't the collapsing walls, it isn't the darkness, and it isn't the legends surrounding the place. It's encountering someone who doesn't want you there. He saw someone. Honestly, if I heard a woman screaming somewhere inside an abandoned tunnel, I don't think I'd ever go back. But that's exactly what Alexandra decided to do. A few days earlier, something strange had happened deep inside this underground complex. First came the scream, then a man appeared in the darkness, only for a second, then he was gone. The police were called afterward, but as often happens in stories like this, nobody ever showed up. So Alexandra decided to return on her own, to find out what had really happened down there.
И здесь еще на полу просто море шприцов. Сейчас. Вы тоже это слышали, да? Я сейчас буду лезть в ту дырку, как и в прошлом видео, потому что без этого мне никак не пройти и не попасть никуда. Я тут пока, ребят, пробиралась, увидела вот такие вот замечательные ботинки, относительно новые. И пока что планирую отправляться дальше. Что-то мне подсказывает, что тут есть вообще какая-то жизнь. Все нормально. Все нормально, это просто вход еще в один корпус.
From the very beginning, the place felt wrong. Discarded needles covered parts of the floor. Old clothing lay scattered throughout the tunnels, evidence that people had been living here for some time. The deeper Alexandra went, the more uncomfortable everything became. Every sound echoed through the darkness, every shadow demanded a second look. And the entire time, she couldn't stop thinking about what happened during her last visit. The scream, the man, and the possibility that someone might still be down here. Eventually, she reached the exact location where she had heard the screams before. But this time, there was nothing. No voices, no movement, no sign of the man she had seen. Only silence. The kind of silence that somehow feels worse than hearing something.
Ёбаный пиздец. Блять, это, конечно, всего лишь вода, но влияет оно, конечно, на психику очень не по-детски. Нам нужно дойти до вот этого вот осветленного участка и затем, не помню куда, но надо свернуть. Вот, только не говорите, что вы этого всего не слышите. Оденьте самые мощные наушники, которые у вас есть, и послушайте. Вот то место, да, это оно. С тем самым ежиком, да, вот этот ежик, к сожалению, мертвый. И вот где-то примерно на вот этом вот месте из тех дыр я услышала в прошлый раз голос. Там тупик дальше, поэтому мы с вами разворачиваемся.
That's when Alexandra noticed something on the ground. A drop, then another, then another. Blood. A trail of blood stretched across the concrete floor, leading deeper into the structure. She followed it, and eventually arrived at a small hidden area. What she found inside stopped her cold. A mattress, blankets, diapers, a basin, and blood. A lot of blood. At first, the obvious explanations come to mind. An injury, a fight, some kind of accident. But the longer Alexandra looked around, the harder it became to believe any of those explanations. Because everything in that space seemed to tell a different story. The diapers, the basin filled with water, the makeshift sleeping area, the blood. Piece by piece, the scene began to make sense, and the conclusion was difficult to ignore. It looked as though a child had recently been born inside these tunnels. The more she examined the area, the harder it became to come up with another explanation. The blood trail led outside, away from the shelter, away from the tunnels, as if a mother and her newborn had already left. And that raised the most disturbing question of all. If a child was really born down here, where are they now?
Опа! Смотрите, на пол. Ебать. Вот следы крови какой-то. А вон, что это, блядь, дальше такое? И вот. Ах ты, сука! Ребята, на тазике, в тазике кровь, чья-то лежанка, типа, и кровь здесь. Это или... это пеленки какие-то. Блять, а здесь точно никого, блядь, нету? Сука. Сука. Окей, давайте попробуем выбраться как можно быстрее и понять, откуда и куда эти следы. Вот еще капля. Откуда и куда эти следы ведут?
Alexandra never found an answer. There was nobody there. No more voices, no new clues, just empty tunnels. Evidence that people had been living there, and the feeling that she had arrived only after everything was over. That's what makes this story so unsettling. Because there are no ghosts here, No monsters, no paranormal mystery, just real people, and the realization that some of the most disturbing stories are completely real.